What's going on, YouTube family? This is your man Pristine, back with another video. Here before you is the Samsung Galaxy Note 20. And yes, you can tell by the color of the SPen picture on the front of the box here that this is the Mystic Green color. Color's hard to come by, doesn't come in carrier stores. You either have to order it from whatever carrier that you get it from, or if you're getting it outright from Samsung, then you can get that color as well. But if you're getting this phone from a carrier, the only available colors are the Mystic Bronze, which is that gold color that everybody's fussing about, and Mystic Gray. Now there are different colors if you're getting the Ultra, but these are the three different colors if you plan on just getting the Note 20, which is what this is. Now, let's jump right into this thing. Been hearing a lot of grumblings and a lot of talking about people's feelings about this Note ever since Samsung unveiled it at their Unpacked event not too long ago. And, you know, due to a lot of things that have been said about this device, those things are actually what made me go against the grain and actually choose this device. You know, since Samsung unveiled this thing at their Unpacked event, the main talk of the town has been about the Ultra. And this particular version of the Note is just getting completely scandalized and maligned, raked over the coal, not given a chance at all whatsoever. Just told that if you're going to get a Note, the Ultra is the one to get, as though everybody who wants to get an Ultra wants to spend $1,300. All the reviews, you hear all these reviewers, you know, all the top reviewers, you know, mid-tier reviewers, you know what I'm saying, up-and-coming reviewers. Everybody's talking about the Ultra, the Ultra. Oh, you know, if you want to get the Note, the Ultra is the one to get. The Ultra is the one to get, right? And, you know, everybody's got their opinions on this particular device just because there's certain things about it that are not present on it. And so I'm like, wow, so because of that, that means that the phone is not a viable contender. That means that the phone is not worthy of being in your pocket or being in your hand. Like, are these things that people are grumbling about this device, are they actually that bad? Should these things actually be determining factors? Well, I guess, you know, this thing's a matter of opinion. So in the eyes of some people, I guess so. But to me, I don't really think so. Let's dive right into this thing, man. And I'll break down what the differences are a little later on in the video here. Now, first off, we've got a 6.7 inch flat Infinity O display. Now this is a full HD Super AMOLED, a full HD plus Super AMOLED plus 1080p by 2400 pixel display. We're at a 20.9 aspect ratio. We've got a 393 ppi pixel density, and we've got Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the front. We've got an HDR10 plus display, and it's sitting at 89.2 screen to body ratio. Now we've got a Snapdragon 865 plus, we've got 8 gigs of RAM, we've got 128 gigs of onboard storage, we got an octa-core CPU with an Adreno 650. We are running Android 10 with One UI 2.5, and there is no SD card slot for memory expansion. So you can get this in 2 GB variants. You can get this in the 128, and you can get it in either 512 or 256. Obviously, the price is going to be a little bit more hefty if you choose to get the higher gigabyte variant. But just know that on this particular Note, the Note 20, there is no memory card slot for for memory expansion. All right, now. Cameras, we got a triple camera setup on the rear. We've got a 12 megapixel main wide sensor. We've got a 64 megapixel telephoto lens with 3-time hybrid optical zoom. We've got a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and then on the front we've got a 10 megapixel wide lens. Now on the rear, some of those cameras features an LED flash, auto HDR, panorama, 8K recording at 24 frames per second, 4K recording at 30 or 60 frames, 1080p recording at 30, 60, or 200 frames per second, 720 at 960 frames per second, HDR10 plus, stereo sound recording, and we also have gyro, electronic, image stabilization and optical image stabilization. For that front camera, we've got 4K recording at 30 or 60 frames, 1080p at 30 frames per second. Now the battery, we've got a 4300 milliamp hour battery, non-removable, Type-C port, USB 3.2, fast charging, 25 watts. Wall adapter comes in the box. And we've got USB power delivery 3.0, so that should make for some pretty fast charging speeds. We've got fast Qi wireless charging. We've got reverse wireless charging also at 9 watts, which we've seen that on the S20 series and also the Note 10 series. Now, again, as I mentioned, the colors you can get this in is Mystic Bronze, Mystic Green, and Mystic Gray. Additional features, we've got Bluetooth 5.0, NFC, FM radio, and the FM radio is only for the Snapdragon model. Mind you, Samsung makes these devices also with their Exynos processor chip inside. And so the phones that have the Exynos processor in it does not come with FM radio. They are only within the ones that have the Snapdragon processors. All right, so just be mindful of that. We've got wireless DeX. How cool is that? All right, we've got under the display fingerprint sensor. Again, 8K recording, as I've already mentioned, always on display. Samsung Pay, the SPen. This is a Note. I mean, so there's been some enhancements with the SPen, and we'll talk about that a little later on in the video. We've got IP68 water and dust resistance, and we've got stereo speakers, and we also have a 32-bit quad DAC in the Type-C port for charging. There's no headphone jack, but if you still do want to plug in, you have to plug in via Type-C, and there is an audio DAC that's going to give you the ability to customize your sound to your liking. That is also tuned by AKG. Now, what are the differences between the Note 20 here and the Note 20 Ultra? Seeing a lot of slander going on out there. A lot of reviewers are really giving this phone a bad rap. They're really giving it a bad rap. Matter of fact, here, look, let's just go ahead and get straight to the unboxing real quick, because I don't, I know you guys be getting antsy, man. Just unbox it already. 10 minutes in, 12 minutes in, haven't even taken it out the box yet. You talk too much. Like I said, my style is what it is, man. I'm just trying to give you guys all that you need if you're planning to commit to this particular device. But the specs that I just named off, that's the meat of the situation. That's the meat of the situation. All right, now in typical Samsung fashion, we got a black box that says N20 Note 20 5G. We've got the green SPen on the top of the box indicating the color. All right, nothing on the right side of the box, nothing at the top of the box. Samsung Galaxy Note 20 5G on the left side of the box. You can see that in the glare. On the bottom of the box, we've got the IEMI number, serial number, all that jazz, blah, blah, blah. Back of the box, we've got the same thing. Some more literature, written information. Okay, who cares? All right, now, let's go ahead and let's get into this thing here. Oh, come on. Come on. Wow, really? There we go. All right, so right off top, ladies and gents, we are greeted with the Note, and look at that. What a thing of beauty. And so let's just go ahead and get this plastic off of here. That's on the front, and it appears as though we've got a screen protector on here, which I don't ride with those, so we'll go ahead and take that off. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. Feels good in the hand. Doesn't feel slick and slippery. It's a flat display. It's not really too curved around the edges like the Ultra. I know we got some juice, so let's go ahead and power this bad boy on. And while it's doing that, we'll go ahead and set it on aside here. And we'll go through the rest of the inbox contents now. Got another box up here. What? We get a case, Samsung? Oh, I knew it was too good to be true. Okay, so you just get all your quick reference guide, get the most out of your phone, terms and conditions, blah, blah, blah. SIM tool right there. Let's get that out of here. All right, what do we got here? This is the T-Mobile variant, and so comes with the SIM card. Don't need that. Here's our 25-watt wall adapter. All right. And what do we got here? Here is our cable for charging. And it is Type-C to Type-C, as you can see. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I know that some folks have been grumbling over the fact that none of the AKG tuned headphones haven't been coming in the box. Samsung will send you a pair, and how that works is you just get in contact with Samsung and verify your purchase. I think they're going to either ask you for your phone's IEMI number or the serial number, something to that effect, which is proof that you purchased a Note 20, and they will send you the headphones. All right. So for those of you that are curious to know why they're not in the box, I think that in this wireless age in which we're in, I think that Samsung is slowly but surely starting to phase out those wired AKG tuned headphones. They've got some new the Galaxy Buds Live that are out now, and so they're pushing the wireless route. And so I figured it was just a matter of time that Samsung was going to stop accommodating those of you that still are accustomed to wires and pretty much force your hand into contacting them to request them, or just go the wireless route, which is, I think this is another indication that that's what they want you to do by not adding those. All right. Now, as you can see, in typical Samsung fashion, this phone is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, we've got the aluminum frame. We've got Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the front. And then on the back, we've got polycarbonate. What is polycarbonate? It's plastic, or as Samsung likes to refer to it as, glastic. All right. It's a glass and plastic sandwich. I know that people have been slamming this phone. Oh, we're paying $1,000 for plastic. Are you serious? This phone just totally isn't worth it. Man, let me tell y'all something, man. Beat it with all that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it doesn't have a glass back, so we don't have wireless charging. What's a Note without a wireless charging? It's $1,000. If you study up, you'd understand, or you learn that Samsung didn't do away with wireless charging. Why do you guys think that just because a phone doesn't have a glass back that they're not capable of doing wireless charging? Are you saying that if you set this phone on a wireless charger, that the only way that signals can get to the battery in order to charge it has to be through glass? Is that what the assumption is? Things that make me go, Like, I just wonder why people would say such things. It's funny how people talk with such ignorance before they learn the facts. You know what I'm saying? See, call me Dr. Actual Factual, because see, I'm all about the facts. I try not to speak on anything until I've got the facts. You see what I'm saying? So, this phone just gets scandalized, maligned, slammed. Okay, it's got a plastic back. So what? Look at this. It's not a fingerprint magnet. If I want to rock this phone booted bucket naked, I can do that. It gives the phone more grip, more gripability, as opposed to the phone just being extremely slippery. #bars, because of that glass. You see, I actually, now that I've got this in my hand and I've held it before, but I actually prefer this. Like, I held both the models in my hand before they came out. And I was just like, another thing that I was compelled was the actual build of this. And it's a little bit smaller. I mean, yeah, it's a 6.7 inch display, but it's a little less cumbersome than wielding a 6.9 inch panel. I mean, I don't know why Samsung decided to go 6.9. They should have just went with the even 7. You know what I mean? It's a big phone. It's a really big phone. But I just so happen to like the color scheme better than the Ultra. I like the feel better than the Ultra. Not that I mind the curved displays, but I like the fact that this is a flat display, completely flat. No edges, none of the edges on the right or left side bleeding over the edges. I like that. Okay. I for my Note phone, I like that. So here, ladies and gentlemen, you clearly see 6.7 inch display corner to corner. As you can see, we've got some really thin bezels at the top and the bottom. The screen to body ratio is a little bit less than the screen to body ratio on the Ultra. The Ultra has thinner bezels than this, and that's really thin because these bezels on this device are really, really thin. To the right, we've got the power button right there, what also acts as the sleep button. We've got the volume rocker up and down. We've got a little antenna line right there at the top. Here we've got a little noise canceling microphone. We've got an antenna line right there. Here is our SIM tray. All right. To the left of the device, we've got another antenna line right there. You guys can see that there. And I thought maybe there was another one over there. Bottom of the device here. Here's our SPen. Here's our bottom firing speaker, which is a different placement. Normally it's on the right side. We've got our Type-C port right there. We've got another noise canceling microphone right there. Then here is another antenna line. And then on the back of the device, in typical Samsung fashion, you can see in the glare, we've got Samsung. Here is our tri-cam system there. And yes, we do have a little bit of a camera hump. Now it doesn't protrude as dramatically as the one on the Ultra, but it's there. Easily can be covered up by a case. No problems at all whatsoever. Yeah, God, I'm a big fan of the way that this phone looks and feels. All right. Now, really quickly, let me go over some of the differences real quick. All right. Because I know you guys are chomping at the bit, right? Salivating at the mouths for the differences. All right. Now, for one, there's a difference in price. This phone costs $999. It's $1,000. The Ultra costs $1,300. Okay. We've got a polycarbonate back here, as I've already talked about. As opposed to the Note 20 Ultra, it's got Gorilla Glass Victus, which is Gorilla Glass 7 on the front and the rear. This is made with Gorilla Glass 5 on the front. Again, the polycarbonate plastic on the rear. Okay. As you can see, the Note 20, it's got some soft curvature on the sides. It's a little less dramatic than what we find on the Ultra. The Ultra is a little bit more curvaceous. It's a little bit more curvy. Well, it's more squared off, but the curves are a little bit more dramatic at the top and the bottom of the device. They're more like sharper edges. Wish I kind of had it side by side so I can show you. But I mean, if you have an opportunity to go to your local Best Buy, your carrier store, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, they got them, look at them side by side and you'll be able to notice the design difference. All right. Now, again, screen real estate. This is a 6.7 inch panel. The Ultra is a 6.9 inch panel. As I mentioned, this is a 6.7 inch 1080p display as opposed to the 6.9 inch 3088 by 1440 4K display. Okay, this is only at 60 hertz refresh rate as far as the display. Now that's one of the only things about this phone that I do wish that Samsung would have put in there. At least they should have gave this phone a 90 hertz display, but to keep it at 60, it's like, come on, Samsung, what are you doing? Now the Ultra, you've got 120 hertz refresh rate. So you get that ultra smooth experience with the Ultra. This one, you're just capped off at 60 hertz, which, 60 hertz, it works. But I mean, when you're so used to having phones that have 90 hertz refresh rate, 120 hertz refresh rate, just to go back to 60 is just kind of like, meh, But I mean, is that a determining factor? To me, no, it's not. For you, it could very well be, right? There's no SD card slot in this guy right here. There is an SD card slot in the Ultra. Now, if that's a big deal to you, then that obviously that can possibly be a determining factor as well. This is 128 gigabytes of storage, and then the other storage variant that we have, I think it's either 256 or 512. The Ultra supports memory expansion up to 1 terabyte. Could be more. Okay. Both the LTE and 5G version of this phone only is topped off at 8 gigs of RAM versus the Ultra. The LTE variant of the Ultra has 8 gigs of RAM, but the 5G variant has 12 gigs of RAM. Okay. So there's a difference there. Now with the camera, the Note 20 Ultra has a 108 megapixel camera, primary sensor, and it's their telephoto lens is 12 megapixel with 3-time optical zoom, but it zooms in up to 50 times as opposed to 100 times. The Ultra here zooms up to 30 times. And the zoom lens is a 64 megapixel sensor at f2.0 aperture, as opposed to the zoom lens on the Ultra, which is a 12 megapixel f3.0 aperture lens. So there's a difference in the camera. And then the Ultra has a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. This has a 4,300 milliamp hour battery. Both devices are IP68 water and dust resistant. So those are the differences, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So for $300 more for the Ultra, you're getting that 4K display. You're getting 120 hertz refresh rate. You're getting 200 extra milliamps of battery. You're getting an 108 megapixel sensor with 50 times optical zoom with the telephoto lens, which is a 12 megapixel rather than the 64 megapixel that is here on the Note 20. You're getting a little bit of a bigger battery that I mentioned, and you're getting Gorilla Glass 7 Victus, which is Corning's new Gorilla Glass technology. You have to ask yourself, is that worth $300 more? Things that make me go, Well, look, while you guys ponder on that, I'm going to place a little hold on the video here, and I'm going to go ahead and get all my information loaded in here. And we're going to come back and we're going to take a look at the software, poke around with some of the features, functions, get into the camera a little bit, talk a little bit about that, and close this thing on out. All right. So you guys hold it down in the meantime. All right, y'all. So we are back in. Here's the desktop for the Galaxy Note 20. And I got to say, just the time frame that I took to get everything set up with this device and get it all prepared, get all my apps and everything loaded onto it. I've been reassured that, having this device as a daily driver, in spite of the fact that the Ultra does exist, is not a bad thing. I mean, this phone is definitely a Note through and through. And I just don't really think that you're going to miss a lot of the things that a lot of the top reviewers are claiming that you're going to miss. All right. Pardon me. So, first off, I mean, beautiful display here, even though this is a 1080p display. Again, Samsung, they make some of the best displays on planet Earth. And so, yeah, I mean, is the 4K display going to look a little better? Absolutely. But I mean, to be honest with you, both phones side by side, it was hard for me to tell a thing. 1080p is good enough for me. I don't need an OLED panel. I don't need a 4K panel. 1080p works for me. I mean, if devices come with those other, display technologies, then great. But it's not something that's an absolute requirement in my book. Okay, so the 1080p display on this phone just works. It's a beautiful display. And as you can see, just scrolling back and forth with the absence of the 120 hertz refresh rate, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? I mean, when you get exposed to that screen smoothness, is it a feature that you want to continue to rock with? Yes. But I mean, is it a determining factor? Absolutely. Does it mean that the phone is just not going to perform just because it's at 60 hertz and not 90 or 120? That's foolery if you think that. And you could tell the way that I'm just easily just navigating through things. So smooth, very responsive to the touch. I mean, it doesn't matter that this phone does not have a 90 hertz refresh rate or a 120 hertz refresh rate, right? It just doesn't matter. I scroll over to Bixby, let that load up. I mean, I don't have my SIM card in here right now. I'm connected to my Wi-Fi, so data speeds are going to differ. Shout out to my man Nas, man, the best rapper on planet Earth. That's been my favorite rapper forever. Even in the Tupac and Biggie era, man, where everybody was like debating on who the best was. Nas has always been my guy. Classic album, King's Disease, man. If y'all ain't hip to that, man, y'all need to get on that, man. Real talk, y'all need to get on that. But I mean, you see how just scrolling up and down is just nearly effortless. I mean, again, you've got 8 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 865 plus processor. I mean, everything that you're going to do on this phone, it's going to do it in an absolute hurry. I mean, you see, I just loaded up Spotify. That's a very content heavy application. Okay. We'll plug in the SoundCloud. I mean, SoundCloud, the same thing. And just look at this. I mean, just how I'm easily able to navigate, no stuttering, no lag of anything. Oh, that's an ad. No, get out of that. No lag or anything. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to Amazon real quick. And you just see how quickly it loads up Amazon. I'm always on Amazon shopping. Let's see here. Where else can I go? Let's go to Best Buy. Just for demonstration's sake. I mean, because a lot of people are slamming this device, making it seem as though it's so less than the Ultra. And I get it. The Ultra, it's got some things over this phone, but it's called Ultra for a reason, right? It's more like the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 overkill. That's what it should be called. It should be called the Galaxy Note 20 overkill, because that's exactly what it is, in my personal opinion. I mean, $1,400. I mean, come on. And there's a lot of people out there that aren't going to want to spend that kind of money. There's a lot of people out there that aren't going to want a device that's going to be that big. And even here at 6.7 inches, this is still a big device. But again, to me, this is very reminiscent to the Note 5, which was my favorite Note. That's exactly how this phone feels in the hand. I mean, so I'm a huge fan of just the flat display. I mean, it's curvaceous around the sides, which makes it easy to hold, as I've demonstrated, and it just feels really good in the hand. I mean, it doesn't feel as though this phone is as big as it is, right? And so I just think that ergonomically, I mean, this is going to be more of a comfortable feel in the hand. And so I just can't stress enough just how good this phone feels in the hand. I mean, yeah, okay, we've got the polycarbonate back, the plastic back. I mean, if anything, it gives the phone some grip. It's not a fingerprint magnet. It's a beautiful finish there. We still have wireless charging. I mean, so it's just different. But I mean, it's no less of a Note than what people are really making it out to be. Now, security, we got facial recognition and the fingerprint sensor. You can see there with the fingerprint sensor, I mean, I touched it, boom. It just opened up just like that with no problems at all whatsoever. I'll demonstrate that again for you guys. I mean, that seems like there's a little bit of an improvement from what it used to be. As you can see, there's your always on display along with notifications there. If you can see that, we can double tap on the screen to wake it up. There's your under the display fingerprint sensor right there. just tap it and it goes in and it works 100% of the time. I mean, so that's been my experience, which to me is an improvement, because the fingerprint sensor on the S20 Ultra and the S20 that I had, and even the Note 10, the Note 10 Plus that I had, it was, that fingerprint sensor was a little finicky. Facial recognition is lightning quick, but that fingerprint sensor needed some work, and it seems as though Samsung has updated it and improved it a bit here on the Note 20, which is definitely a good thing. Now, again, just in typical Android fashion, I have it set up, because this phone is a bigger device. I mean, I've got it set up to where when you swipe down from anywhere on the display, you can bring down your notifications and your quick toggles. And as you can see, Samsung, they definitely give you a lot of quick toggles there to play with. If you want to customize your quick toggle orientation, you just click on the 3 dots up top right here and you hit button order, and that's going to take you to your button order, and you can just long press and drag those applications around where you want them, or those quick toggles rather, and just hit done, and it's going to save in that particular orientation. Okay. Pardon me. Again, when you swipe up, can I swipe? When you swipe up, then this is going to take you to your app drawer. And if you want to learn if you want to alphabetize your app drawer, you just hit 3 dots up top on the top right, hit sort, and then you can say, all right, y'all, my bad. Pardon that interruption there. Okay, so if you're trying to alphabetize your applications, I like the fact that when you're in your app drawer, you just scroll up. There's going to be 3 little dots here to the top right of the search bar right there. You just go ahead and click on that, and it's going to say sort, home screen settings, finder settings, Galaxy Essentials, and contact us. What you want to do is you want to hit sort, and you can hit custom order, which your applications will basically be in the order in which you chose to download them from the App Store. Or if you hit alphabetical order, then they will change to alphabetical, and all your applications will be, stored in the order by the alphabet that they are in. Okay, so I think that that's pretty cool. I mean, it's a good tool to have, if you want to stay organized and just keep things alphabetized, or just put them in a custom order to your liking. You can definitely do that. And so, One UI, it's my favorite user interface, because they give you so much to customize with the device to really, really make it your own. Now, when we pop into the settings menu, I mean, if you're not familiar with One UI, it looks a little bit different than stock Android, and I'm a fan of that. I've got dark mode enabled, and basically what you do, we've got connections here, we've got sounds and vibrations, we've got notifications, we've got display. And I like how in sounds, and I stress this in most of the Samsung videos that I do, I like the fact that they give you so many different options. And one of the most important things to me is when you click on volume, it gives you the ability to toggle your ringtone, media, notifications, and system. Now, on most Android devices, the ringtone and the notification sounds are consolidated. That means that they're put together. So it's like whatever you put that slider to be, that's going to determine how loud your ringtone and your notifications are. But there's lots of times where I may want my ringtone to be more of a softer tone, or not ring as loud, but I want my notifications to be louder, or vice versa. I want my notifications to sound to be a low sound, and I may want my ringtone to be a high sound. Most Android devices, they don't really give you the option to choose between one or the other, but Samsung does. And so to me, it's just the little things like that that really, it's why it's hard to kind of, when I put a Samsung device down and I go to another device, yeah, I can rock with another device, but I always seem to find myself gravitating more back toward that Samsung experience, because of just little things like that, and sometimes it's the littlest things that make the biggest differences. You know what I mean? And so just little stuff like that, is one of the main reasons why One UI is my favorite user interface. And so, I'm a big fan of that. And then, of course, this is where you go. You can, set your ringtone, your notification tone, your alarm tone, your vibration sensitivity, your vibration pattern. They got all these different things that you can choose from as to how your phone can vibrate, when you're getting a notification or a phone call, which I think is dope. Sound quality and effects. You got Dolby Atmos. You got Dolby Atmos for gaming. You got a dedicated equalizer here where there's presets and things that you can choose from to really customize your sound. We've got normal, pop, classic, jazz, rock, and custom. And when you hit custom, then of course you just toggle the equalizer bars to your liking that really get that sound that you want. And and that's what it is. And so, the phone, it gives you so much to play with. We've got ADAPT sound, which allow ADAPT sound to make phone calls. Yes. And so what this is, find the best sound for you and use it for calls, music, and video. And so right now it's off, and that's by default. But you can hit ADAPT sound 4, and it's for media and call sound, only media sound, or only call sound. And they got these presets here where it's like under 30 years old, 30 to 60 years old, or over 60 years old. And it's like basically whichever one of these that you choose, then you can customize it. But by default, when you choose one of these, the phone is just going to automatically customize that sound based on how it feels sound quality should be for ones that are within that age range, right? I've never seen that on any other device, right? But Samsung offers that. And so, there's a lot of things that you can dive into with One UI. And I think a lot of people aren't even using these features, but the reason why I'm showing them just to educate people that, hey, these things are present, you know what I'm saying? Is you just got to know where to look. And so I think a lot of times people are walking around with these devices and their phones have capabilities of doing things that these people aren't even aware of because they just don't dive deep in the settings. And I know sometimes these things aren't really advertised, which is another reason why I'm showing these things. But, Samsung, they really, really go into depth with their user interface, and they give their consumers a lot to play with to really customize the phone experience, the audio experience, the viewing experience, right? You just have the ability to change and customize so much. And I really appreciate that about Samsung's UI. It'd be nice to get their UI on other devices. But I'm typically, I rock with whatever the UI is that comes on a device. I'm not into like rooting or all that kind of stuff. So, but again, it's just another reason why I continue to gravitate more towards Samsung devices. I mean, I've got the Note 20 here. I just traded my S20 in for that. I've got the Galaxy Fold. I got the Z Flip. I'm waiting for the Z Flip 2. To come out, the Fold 2, basically. The Galaxy Z Fold 2 is what it's called. Crazy name, but it is what it is. And then you got separate app sound. And what this is it gives you the ability to play media sound from one app on a different audio device, which is dope. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so, you get a lot of stuff to play with the Samsung devices. Now we're going to go down into display, and this is where you can choose whether or not you want light mode, dark mode settings. Here's your brightness slider, adaptive brightness, always turn that off. But basically what that is if you turn that on, then the screen is going to adjust based on the lighting conditions in which you're in. I mean, so if you're in darker environments, then the screen will automatically it will automatically get brighter. If you're in brighter environments, then the screen will dim itself a little bit. I turn that off. The brightness setting that I set it at usually works for me in whatever conditions that I'm in. So that's just what works for me. We have the blue light filter, just for, if you want to adjust the screen brightness, when it gets nighttime, to help you sleep or help you kind of wind down a little bit, then you can turn on or off the blue light filter. Now we've got screen mode, and this is where you can choose, how you want your screen to look. Okay. By default, it's on vivid, or you can put it on natural. When you put it on natural, then it just gives you more of a natural color. I'm not sure if you guys were able to catch that difference, but when I put it in vibrant, then, or vivid, it tends to oversaturate the colors a little bit, but I don't mind that because I like my colors to pop. And so I just like the look of that over natural. And I also noticed that too, you can control the white balance. And so when it's on vivid, I mean, you can toggle whether or not you want the image to be, or the color reproduction to be a little bit more cool, which is, giving it that slightly of a bluish tint, or if you want them to be more warm, which gives slightly of a yellowish tint. All right. And then when you click on advanced settings, and this gives you the ability to toggle your RGB, your red, green, and blue. So, just want to let you know that, you've got full customization, man. You could do pretty much, whatever you want to do. And of course, you got font size and style, screen zoom, full screen apps. That's for a lot of the applications that aren't optimized to work on a full screen. Then you can basically force them to. Now there's, it'll give you a little disclaimer saying, hey, okay, if you opt to have this app run at full screen, even though it may not be optimized, it may not act right. And, you turn that app on full screen at your discretion. But home screen, easy mode, edge screen, navigation bar. Now, navigation bar, this is where you're going to go to choose how you want to navigate through your device. I mean, so you can choose to have the 3 buttons, which is the old school conventional way, or you can have swipe gestures. And I'm a fan of the swipe gestures because this is normally, like, if I rocked with the 3 buttons, this is the orientation that it would be in, which would be home in the middle, back on the right, and recents on the left. But even though I've elected to have the swipe gestures are based on how that 3 button configuration is. And so my swipe gestures, as it is up here, if I were to choose the 3 buttons, the one on the right is back, the one in the middle is home, and the one on the left is recents. And you can toggle that, if you wanted to have it the other way around, you can definitely do that. Or if you wanted to do just like the Android 10 thing, where you got the little slider down here at the bottom, and you're just sliding that back and forth to navigate through applications, and sliding your finger to the right or left to go back, you can elect to have that as well. I mean, so you've got like 3 different options as far as how you can navigate through your device. The phone, it offers you tutorials and teachings on how to do that if you're unclear on how to do that. I mean, so, the phone is very informative. It's at this frame of the game, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I think they're really trying to do away with the whole 3-button setup. Some people still use it because that's what they've gotten used to. But, hey, it is what it is. I mean, but just know that you've got different ways in which to navigate your device. And so again, here, like your button order, you can choose your button order right there. And then if you choose to have the swipe gestures, then your swipe gestures are going to be based on whatever that button order is. All right. Just a better way to explain that, I guess. Okay. So go ahead and put the phone down. We've got accidental touch protection, which I've got that turned on. If my phone's in my pocket and I reach in my pocket for something else other than my phone, then my knuckle may hit the screen or something. It just stops it from unlocking the phone and activating applications that I wasn't trying to activate, or, butt dialing someone accidentally or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Figuratively speaking, my phones are never in my back pocket. I never sit on my phones. It blows my mind how people do that, but it is a thing. And so it's for that feature is for stuff like that. All right. Touch sensitivity, this is like if you're wearing gloves or something like that and you want to be able to navigate with your phone, you're not having to constantly take your hands in and out the glove. And so touch sensitivity, you enable that and you'll be able to, touch your phone with a glove on per se. All right. Show charging information, screensaver, that's all we've got in settings. And then, of course, we've got wallpaper, themes, lock screen, biometrics, and security. That's where you're going to go if you want to add a fingerprint or set up your facial recognition. This is where you're going to go. You got facial recognition right there, fingerprints, biometric preferences. When you click on that, it's going to ask you if you want a screen transition effect. That's turned on by default. I'll probably turn that off because I don't really care about that. Biometric security patch, Google Play Protect, security updates, Google Play system update, Find My Mobile. Actually, you know what? I'll turn that off because I don't lose my phones. So there's no reason for that to be on. Oh, and of course, it's going to ask me to enter my Samsung username and password, but I've already got that set up with fingerprint. And so that just makes it simple. And that may be something that you guys want to do too, because when you're messing around with the security features on your phone, just to alleviate constantly having to enter your username and password, if you set up fingerprint sensor with those kind of things, and you just tap it like you just see me do, and boom, it takes you right into what you want to do. All right. But it just made me enter that information to turn off Find My Phone. Yeah, a lot of things here. Privacy, location, accounts, and backup, Google, advanced features, digital well-being and personal controls or parental controls, device care, apps, general management, accessibility, software update, tips, and help, and about phone. And so when we go to about phone, here is, it's just general information about the phone. Jules Galaxy Note 20 5G. Yes, my first name is Jewel, Jewel, the Diamond, aka Pristine. That's me. And yeah, when you go to status, this is just going to give you your SIM card, IMEI information, IP address, all that kind of stuff, right? Software information, One UI version 2.5, which is the latest. Android version 10, Just if you can't see that, get a close up on that real quick. So you can see that, just to verify that that's what we got running here on the new Note 20, and that's fresh out of the box. The phone did get an update when I took it out of the box, which is definitely good news. And I've noticed that Samsung has been doing a much better job with making sure that their devices get timely updates. They may not be as fast as a Pixel, but hey, I'm not really concerned about that. Just as long as the phone continues to get updated on a consistent basis, then I'm not really tripping over that. All right, now, if we pop into advanced features, here's where we got SPen, side key, Bixby routines, call and text on other devices, link to Windows, smart pop-up view, screenshots and screen recorder, direct share, reduce animation, motions and gestures, one-handed mode, game launcher, dual messenger, video enhancer, and send SOS messages. Now, when we go into motion and gestures, these are the motions and gestures that we have working with on this phone. So the first one, we've got lift to wake, which if your phone is sitting on a flat surface, all you do is pick it up and it's going to wake up the screen. It'll be on your lock screen. It's not going to unlock your device. So can't anyone just come and pick up your phone and get into it. It's just only going to take you to the lock screen where you have to either enter your passcode, fingerprint, facial recognition, all that. We got double tap to wake. And so if the phone is off, you just simply double tap the screen to wake it up. We've got smart stay. What that is if you're looking at the phone, it won't go to sleep. Even if you got your phone to go to sleep in like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 is where I keep mine. The phone won't go to sleep. And it's annoying when your phone goes to sleep every 30 seconds because that's where you had it set, but you're looking at it. So you're constantly having to unlock it or tap the screen to keep it from going to sleep. So that's a very useful feature. Now, smart alert, that's if you say you set your phone down because you got to go, run to the restroom, or, somebody comes to the door, you got to go answer the door, something like that. And then you come back and pick up your phone is going to vibrate. It's going to vibrate, indicating that you either missed a notification or missed a phone call. And so that vibration, when you pick up your phone, you can get into it and see, okay, what you missed. All right. So that's what Smart Alert is. Now, Easy Mute. Easy Mute is when the phone rings, you can just put your hand over your palm or your hand over the display to mute the call, shut the ringtone down, or you can just turn the phone over on its face to stop the phone from ringing. Okay, then you've got, and you could also, that those of y'all that's on that creep mode, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can just put the phone down on its face and wait, let me see if that is that feature. Yeah, and you can put your hand over it. Yeah, and you can set the phone down on its face, and it's basically just going to put the phone in do not disturb mode. And then when you pick it up and turn it back over, then it will disable do not disturb, and that's when you'll start to receive phone calls and notifications and all those kind of things. All right, now, palm swipe to capture. So what you're going to do, this is just a screenshot, and what you do, and this isn't nothing new to Samsung devices, but I like it. You know what I mean? So you just take, palm of your left hand and just run it across the screen, and boom, it just took a screenshot. Just like that. It's very simple. It's not something that you have to do hard. You just simply let the palm of your hand just glide across the display from left to right, and boom, there's your screenshot right there. Okay, these little quick toggles are going to come up. These are settings on what you may want to do with your screenshot. If you want to share them really quickly, if you want to create a GIF or GIF, however you pronounce it. There's a couple of other options that you can choose to do with those screenshots. And that's what it is. And then the last one is swipe to call or send messages. So say if you are in your contacts list and you want to make a quick call real quick. Okay, you find the person, you swipe to the right or to the left to call them, or you swipe to the right to send them a text message. That's what that is. It's just a simple swiping gesture, right or left, to determine whether or not you want to call the person or send them a text message. And you can set it how you want it. So, okay, if I want to set it to when I swipe left on this person's name, it'll send them a text, and it'll do that every time you swipe left on that person's name. When I swipe to the right on that person's name, then I want to call that person. So that's what that is. And so those can be useful, help you save some time if that's what you want to do. And then here, we've got the SPen settings where we got air actions. When we click on that, this is just going to give us a full-on tutorial on the air actions, what they entail, and just basically teach you how to really, use this device the way that it ought to be used with the SPen. Okay, so like where it says right here, and it also keeps tabs on the SPen battery, because believe it or not, your phone charges the pen. And so right here it says that it's available 100%. Obviously, the more you use your pen, it'll drain that down. But every time you put the pen back in its rightful area, which now it is on the left side of the device as opposed to the right, then your phone is going to charge the pen up. Okay, and you can see first option there is hold down pen button 2. So you can program what you want to happen when you hold down on the pen button. If you got all these things to choose from right here. Okay. All your applications that are right here. I mean, you can choose to have it. Hey, when I hold down on that pen button, I wanted to access this app, and then that app will pop up and you got your pen out and you're ready to doodle or draw or document some things, whatever you want to do. Right. You've got total control, it seems. Okay. Now you've got anywhere actions, and it says choose what happens when you press and hold the pen button and do the following actions. And so there's gestures. And so like when you're holding the pen button, when you move it up or move it down or move it from side to side, I mean, there's different gestures that you could do with the pen in your hand to trigger certain actions. And so this is where you can customize what you want those actions to be based on whatever that hand gesture is while you're holding the pen. All right. And I understand, they added some new things to me. Those are gimmicky things. I'm probably not going to use most of those. Usually when I take the SPen out, I'm making notes on the screen, on the memo. You know what I'm saying? I love that feature of just being able to just pop the pen out and then just start writing on the display and then save it into my notes. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the main way in which I use the SPen. I mean, using it to capture photos, selfies and all that. Yeah, that's cool. But I don't play with all that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, those things may be useful to some, but for me, that SPen is just more so just for jotting down notes. And, I'm coming into contact with lots of information on a daily basis, and it's very helpful just to have something to jot down on the display. I got to pull out no paper or nothing. I got to worry about a bunch of papers cluttered up somewhere because I've got all this information written down. I just write it on my screen and save it in my notes. And whenever I need to access it, I can go to my notes and there it is. You see what I'm saying? I mean, so that's mostly how I use my SPen whenever I have a note device. But this is where you go to customize all those things. You got SPen unlock, screen off memo. You don't want to turn that off because that will turn off that function that I was just talking about, which is just having the ability to pull the pen out and just start writing on the screen. You got air view, show pointer when hovering, allow multiple SPens, shortcuts, show floating icon, open air commands with pen button when SPen is removed. You can choose to have choose what happens when you take the SPen out of its slot. So right now it's set to open air commands, create a note, or do nothing. But by default, it's on open air command. All right. Now, pen proximity alert, sound, vibration, tips for using your SPen, about SPen features, and contact us. And so as you can see, there's a whole slew of things that you can choose from. And Samsung is really trying to help teach you how to use the SPen so that you can get full functionality out of your brand new Note 20. All right. And these things are all standard, across the board, whether you get this Note 20 or the Ultra, doesn't matter. So it's not like in this particular regard, the Ultra is going to be a more robust, in this particular feature set when it comes to the SPen. All this stuff is the same no matter which Note 20 you decide to get. All right. Now, we will go out of that and let's go to these cameras real quick. And, I've already taken some photos with this camera, but, we'll go through it real quick. So, of course, we got photo, video. We've got more. And when you hit more up at the top here, top left, we got Bixby Vision, AR Zone, Pro Mode, Panorama, Food, Night, Live Focus Video, Pro Video, Super Slow-Mo, Slow Motion, and Hyperlapse. Okay, and then when you hit this little pin right there, that's going to allow you to drag whichever one of these different modes down here in this section, so you will you won't have to always hit more just to access this. Like say if you want pro mode down here, then you can just drag pro mode down here, boom, hit save, and there's pro mode. So now it's within, you know, your list of the normal things that you would do with your camera, as opposed to always having to hit more and then choose it that way. Okay, so I just wanted to demonstrate that real quick. That's how you do that. That's how you add different modes to your little quick toggles list right there with the camera. And then to the far left, we've got single take. All right. And what I forgot exactly what single take is, but make sure you stay tuned for the full pristine review, because I'll talk a little bit more about that and help learn you about what that is. All right. Now we'll just go back to photo. And as you can see here, we've got, that's the 3-time optical zoom, and that's the telephoto lens. Again, it is a 64 megapixel telephoto lens as opposed to the 12 megapixel sensor that is on the Ultra. And be mindful of the fact that here we've got 3-time zoom as opposed to the 5-time zoom that is on the Ultra. And you can zoom up to 30 times on the Note 20 here, but you can zoom up to 50 times on the Ultra. And you know, why anybody would want to zoom in that close, I don't know, but it is what it is. All right, so we go back to our primary, and then here is our ultra wide right there, and you can see a little bit more in the shot. It seems like the ultra wide didn't really get that wide, but you know, it did get wider. I mean, you can get more in the shot whenever you enable that feature. You know, the quality looks to be on point. I mean, you know, the ultra wide sensor is also a 12 megapixel sensor. So I'm going to be looking forward to getting this phone out in the elements and just, you know, taking some actual photos of things just to see, okay, is there a drop off in quality, you know, when you're using the ultra wide or no. And so, you know, things that make me go, so stay tuned for that dedicated camera review that I'm going to have coming up as well. All right, now we'll just go back to the primary. We'll go to settings really quickly. Okay, we've got scene optimizer, shot suggestions, scan QR codes, swipe shutter button edge to take burst shots or create a GIF. Okay, so right now we'll just leave it on by default, take burst shots, save options, rear video size, front video size, pro video size, advanced recording options, video stabilization, you definitely want that on, auto HDR, selfie tone, tracking autofocus, picture as previewed, grid lines, location tags, shooting methods, my apologies, settings to keep, shutter sound, touch vibrations, reset settings, contact us, and about camera. So as you can see, you've got just a lot of stuff to choose from there under the camera settings. Here, this is our flash. This is our timer right there. The timer is off. Here is our aspect ratio. Right now, we're just keeping it on 3:4, but you can change it to 9:16, 1:1, or full screen, which is just going to, the viewfinder is just going to take up the whole screen if that's something that you need. But for now, just keep it back on 4:3, or 3:4 rather. This little icon right there is motion photos, and I'll just keep that off. And then this little icon right there just gives you the ability to add some filters, so you can just kind of customize photos to give them like different lighting tones. And I always turn that off. My filters, I think this is something new. Create filters from your photos. Turn any shot into a custom filter. Select sample below to try it out. And they've got some preset samples here that you can choose from. I'm not going to mess with that right now. And then here we've got face. And I'm not sure if that's some kind of beauty mode or what. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get out of that. And let's see here. Just some photos that I took in the house. Again, I mean, just looking at it through this lens doesn't really do it full justice, but I mean, these are some super clean and crisp photos. If you take a look at, oh my goodness, look at that detail. I mean, it's insane. Like I've heard videos. I watched other reviewers review the Ultra, and they talk about how the camera, they have issues with the camera, or the shutter speed isn't really all that quick. And yes, there is a little bit of a delay with the shutter speed, which can be a hindrance to you capturing the photo that you want to capture. But I mean, it's like a second delay, maybe a second and a half. And I know that sometimes that's the difference between being able to capture the photo versus not capturing the photo. And definitely, when it's like next to the Pixel 4a, I mean, that Pixel 4a shutter is just instant, right? When you tap the shutter button, it snaps that photo. And so, I mean, I don't want to say that that's like a flaw with the device. I mean, to me, it seems to be fast enough. I mean, just for demonstration purposes, you see that? I mean, so you see, I mean, just a little bit of a delay. It's like it's not taking the pictures like right when I tap it. You see, like my thumb is already over here, so it's like what, like a second and a half after I move my thumb that the actual shot is taken. So I mean, you have to be the judge as to whether or not that's going to be something that's going to hinder your ability to capture what you're looking to capture. That can definitely be problematic if you're shooting moving subjects. But I believe in the settings menu, you can enable a setting where it like auto focuses on moving targets just to kind of help remedy that. So yeah, that's ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all I got for the unboxing and the first initial thoughts and impressions for the Galaxy Note 20. I was compelled to get this phone because everybody's been slamming it ever since the Samsung Unpacked event. You're saying, is the Ultra $300 better than the Note here? I personally don't think so. And then again, just one of my favorite features with the SPen is when you remove it and you just have the ability just to, and you hear that sound. I mean, I don't know. I mean, some people have, made it seem as though that's like a new feature or something like that. But I mean, my last few notes, have made that sound every time I release the SPen. So I'm not sure what was going on with those people's units, but that's not a new feature. And so that's what happens. This is the quick memo. You know what I'm saying? So like when your phone is locked and you take the SPen out, this is where it goes. And it just gives you the ability to write on the screen. As you can see, as I'm erasing things, it makes a little sound. And then when you want to write again, you hit the little pin right there. And that's the indication that you want to write. Okay. And then you can choose, how thin or thick you want the, your writing to be. So if I choose that one, then pristine tech. I mean, you see what I'm saying? I mean, and then, you just hit the little eraser button right there and you can erase it, and you don't have to like press down on the screen. I mean, just the tip of the SPen can be barely touching the screen, and you just move it up and down. As you can see, I mean, there's like a little cursor on the screen, and you just run that cursor over the words, and there you go. You can choose different colors, that you want to write in. I mean, so if you want to write in yellow, then, there it is. You can, choose, what color, you want, your pen to be in, all that, right? I mean, so, I mean, you could just do a lot of stuff with the SPen. All right. So I'll go ahead and put it back in its slot and unlock the device. Okay. So now with the phone unlocked, when you remove the SPen, then your air view comes up, and you've got create a note, view all notes, smart select, screen write, live message, AR doodle, translate, pin up, and add a shortcut. Okay, and then here's your settings right there, and this is going to take you to all your SPen settings as I displayed a little earlier in the video. Okay, and so you've got a lot of cool things that you can do with the SPen. Like I said, I mean, some of these things to me are gimmicky. The main way that I use the SPen is, like I said, I mean, just when the screen is locked, something happens, I need to jot something down really quickly, I just pop the pen out right on the screen and save it. Right, that's mostly how I use my SPen. All right, but how you use yours depends solely on you. As I displayed, you got a lot to play with and a lot to choose from, a lot to learn, a lot of new features there with the SPen. So, I guess the thing is just to get it in your hands and try it out for yourself and see what you think about it. But for the moment, ladies and gents, that's all I got for the unboxing and the first initial thoughts and impressions for the Galaxy Note 20. Again, I was compelled to get this one just because everybody slammed it and scandalized and maligned it. But to me, it's a good phone. It's a really good phone. It's a Note through and through. In spite the fact that it doesn't have all the things that the Ultra has, but it doesn't need to have those things because it's not the Ultra. Obviously, the Ultra is the overkill version, and not everybody wants, nor do they need all that. I certainly don't. And I don't need to be paying $1,300 for a lot of stuff that I'm not even going to use. You know what I'm saying? $1,000 for a lot of people is overkill, but there's a lot of promos and things going on. You can trade in devices to where you don't have to pay full price for these devices. And so if you can get these phones for less than what they cost, then man, you're winning. You're winning. So that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed this video for the Samsung Galaxy Note 20. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to expose yourself to tons of videos that I've done like this one. Be sure to check out my catalog because I've got so many more videos that I've done like this one, and keep it locked at Pristine Mobile Tech because I've got so much more content to come. Hit that notifications bell so that every time my videos go live, you'll get notified, and be one of the first to check out that content. And get down in the comments, which is where I'll be chilling at, and let me know what you think about what you saw. All right, we can talk about it down below in the comments. Keep it respectful. I respect your opinions. You respect mine. And we'll keep this thing 100% positive. All right, much love to all my subscribers. Thank you guys for rocking with me and being patient with me. And you guys already know, please stay safe, get spiritually fit, and keep it pristine in every aspect of your lives. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.